Welcome to Scout Dynamics. This is my Scout rifle. It is the Savage 10 FCM first generation. Before he died, the only production Scout rifle the late Colonel Cooper approved of was the Steyr Scout. At that time, it retailed for $2,600. One of Cooper's proverbs is, riflemen are usually broke, and I was quite broke at the time, so there was no way I was going to spend that much for a rifle. Shortly after the Steyr came out, Savage came out with their 10 FCM Scout rifle. So, as soon as it came on the market, this is what I bought. For years, I'd wondered what the late Colonel's opinion was on this model Scout. It was only fairly recently, digging through his articles, he took one look at it, tossed it over his shoulder, and called it a cheap copy. With all due respect to the Colonel, I was not going to spend $2,600. So here it is. This is the 10 FCM first generation Scout rifle. The two main things that distinguish the first generation 10 FCM over the second production run or second generation is that it's equipped with a standard trigger, not the newer AccuTrigger. The next feature is the magazine. It has the side button magazine release. This next generation or second production run of the Savage Scout had the magazine release moved forward of the magazine well. This makes getting spare magazines extremely difficult, if not impossible. If you can find one of these, expect to pay triple-digit prices. The next feature I added to my Scout rifle is the side rail, commonly found on the Mossberg Scout. The late Colonel Cooper specifies that a lot of action occurs nocturnally. Therefore, having a light, or a leopard light as the late Colonel calls it, would be handy on a Scout rifle, especially if this is your only rifle. The standard 4-round magazine and lack of spares, of extra magazines available, makes the removable magazine a cleaning feature, not a reloading feature. So I added extra ammunition to the stock. This places the Scout rifle in its traditional form. My first attempt at adapting a magazine was to use a Ruger Gunsight Scout Rifle magazine and modifying it to fit in the magazine well. It has limited success. It works, but in order to do this, I had to shave the ears to make it seat high enough in order for the bolt to grab around. This gives me an ammunition retention problem, so out in the field, the ammo will pop out. My next attempt appears to be successful to date, is taking the Magpul PMag 10 and adapting it to my Scout rifle. Magpul does make a conversion kit, converting your standard Model 10 to a PMag. To do so, however, requires that you conduct inletting on your stock. I chose to modify the magazine and not the rifle. I may yet convert to the full PMag setup depending on how this works, but currently I'm now between two worlds. With the standard magazine and spare ammunition, I'm now in traditional mode. Now, Richard Mann, in his book The Scout Rifle Study, he actually somewhat criticized the addition of high-capacity magazines to the Scout, talking about, what are you doing? You are preparing for ISIS or a zombie apocalypse? Well, once again, if the Scout rifle is supposed to be your only rifle, and you happen to come across ISIS or a zombie apocalypse, this would be the rifle to do it with. If you go by Cooper's philosophy, the traditional Scout rifle setup should serve you well. In the rare exceptions, I can go from traditional to tactical by simply reloading. look forward to a series on traditional versus tactical to see if the extended magazine truly provides a benefit, and if it does, where. Completing my scout rifle setup is a Burris 2-7 by 32 scout scope and a Rhodesian sling by Andy's Leather. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Look forward to the next video on performing the magazine modifications.